1,300 deaths of Ukrainian soldiers since this began for a total ground gained of less than 50 square miles. Russia says that at least 26,000 Ukrainian servicemen have lost their lives since this began. We have independent journalist with us, Mike Jones. He has been looking into the conditions of Ukrainian soldiers. What is their morale? What is the prospect for these innocent lives? Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So now you live in Russia, but you spend a lot of time taking trips to the Donbass region. You have for months and months. So what can you tell us about the general state of, how would I describe this? State of, you call it psychologically crushing the morale of the army.
Absolutely. These are obviously very tough conditions for both sides. And psychologically speaking, it's always going to be very taxing. But when it comes to the reports that I've been supplied by sources in the Ukrainian law enforcement agencies that are seemingly sympathetic to the Russian cause and want to clearly oust the Kiev regime, you get a good idea of just quite how terrible things are on the Ukrainian side. Now, I've said that things are difficult on both sides, but you have a very different mentality. So the people, particularly from Donbass, if I'll focus on them for just one moment, the people I've spoken to directly, they have this additional layer where they are literally fighting for their homes, particularly if it's Donetsk. The soldiers from there are literally trying to protect their families. This is a level of motivation that can't just be instilled in someone through instruction or training. And I'll read from the document where it states the current state of affairs in the unit leads to the lowest possible effectiveness of performance of tasks as intended, which may lead to negative consequences, loss of the defense lines, and complete loss of the combat capability. Many of your viewers watching will no doubt have seen videos circulating, particularly on Telegram, of these poor soldiers being rounded up off the streets, put in the back of vans and sent straight to the front lines. They even have an officer who is responsible for what is called moral and psychological support. And in his own estimations in there, one of these down to just 20% of moral qualities and combat capability.
I mean,